My mother called 3 days before Thanksgiving. Her voice was softer than usual, rehearsed almost. "This year's been a little chaotic," she said. "Maybe you shouldn't come." I paused just long enough for her to fill the silence with a cheerful, "Next year, for sure." I smiled, even though something in my chest went quiet. "Okay," I said. I told my kids plans had changed, that Grandma needed rest. My daughter folded the crown she made from construction paper and glitter glue. My son tucked the drawing back into his backpack. We didn't talk about it. That night, I opened Facebook. There she was, my mother laughing at the head of a candlelit table. My sister beside her, her ex-boyfriend, the neighbors, even the guy who once ran over her rose bush with a lawnmower. Everyone but us. My kids saw it too, and that's when I took the photo of the gifts. And I hit send. That night, after the kids had gone to bed, I sat at the edge of the couch with my phone in my hand and my heart in my throat. It wasn't even my mom who posted the video. It was her friend, the one who always overshares on Facebook, the one who still writes, "Feelin' blessed" under every meal photo. She had tagged my mother with the caption, "So grateful to be surrounded by good food and even better people." I tapped play. There she was, me mom sitting at the head of the table, wearing the gold earrings I got her last Mother's Day. She was laughing, full and real, holding a glass of red wine in one hand while blowing out the candles on her favorite lemon chiffon cake. My sister Rachel was on her right. Her ex-boyfriend, the one my mom used to say made her nervous, was there too, their baby in a high chair between them, reaching for mashed potatoes. Across the table, the Johnson boys from next door. And was that? Yes, Mrs. Halpern from down the street, the one who once called my son a bit wild. Everyone was there. Except us. The camera panned slowly across the room, capturing clinking glasses and second helpings. And then, right at the far end of the table, I saw the flower arrangement I sent that morning. Sunflowers, eucalyptus, baby's breath, still in the plastic wrap. The card was tucked in the side, unopened. I didn't say anything, not at first. I just stared. Then I heard a voice behind me. "Is that Grandma?" Lily rubbed her eyes. Jake stood beside her, holding the small wrapped box he'd made for her painted popsicle sticks, tied with yarn. I nodded. I couldn't lie. They watched the video. Quiet. Not confused, just still. Then Lily asked the question I had no answer for. Why didn't she want us? I didn't cry. Instead, I stood up, went to the hall closet, and took out the bag with all the gifts. The slippers with the built-in massager Jake had picked, the blanket Lily and I had sewn together, the candles, the books, even the baby toy for Rachel's son. I unwrapped every single one, laid them out on the table, took a photo, attached it to a message in our family group chat, wrote 6 words. "Returning these tomorrow. Thanks for nothing." I pressed send. Then I put my phone down. And waited. It didn't take long. 40 minutes after I sent the photo, I heard the knock. Not polite, not hesitant, heavy, familiar. I opened the door. My dad stood on the porch, jaw locked, fists clenched like he'd been holding in an argument the entire drive. He didn't even glance at the kids' bikes on the lawn. He walked in without being asked. I stepped aside, said nothing. Inside, the table was still covered in the unwrapped gift small boxes and soft packages lined up like evidence. He stopped short, looking at them like I'd committed a crime. "Are you out of your mind?" he asked. I didn't flinch. I didn't answer. He stepped closer, gesturing to the gifts with a tight shake of his head. "You don't embarrass the family like this." That word family, it didn't land like he thought it would. It didn't mean what it used to. Not anymore. I spoke quietly. "You invited the entire neighborhood and left us out." His face didn't change. No guilt, no surprise. Just a long exhale through his nose like he was already tired of this. "We needed things to be quiet this year," he said. "With your sister staying here, it's been a lot." That was it. No apology. No recognition of the kids. No acknowledgement that I had spent months preparing, or that my children had asked why they weren't wanted. He turned, ready to leave, when Jake appeared at the edge of the hallway. His small voice broke the silence. "Grandpa?" My dad froze. He didn't turn around. He didn't say a word. Just walked out. Let the door close behind him like it didn't matter. I stood there for a long time, staring at the door, then at Jake, who had already started walking away, shoulders a little lower than before. I didn't follow my dad. I didn't call him back. I didn't chase an explanation that was never coming. Instead, the next morning, I gathered the jewelry box, the one I'd been filling for my mother since March. The gold necklace, the matching bracelet, the small hoops she always used to point out in shop windows, 7 months of saving, skipping coffee, skipping dinners, clipping coupons until my hands hurt. I took it to the jeweler and placed it on the counter. The woman behind the counter looked surprised. "You sure you want to return the whole set?" she asked. I nodded. "I don't need the money back," I said. "Just restock it." She didn't ask more. She could see I wasn't there for the refund. When I walked back to my car, I sat still for a while. No music, no texts, no noise. Something in me had shut off the night before. And it wasn't coming back. I didn't hear from my parents after that night. No follow-up, no apology, not even a text asking if the kids were okay. 2 days passed in silence, then my phone lit up with a name I hadn't seen in months. Aunt Marianne. She only calls for 2 reasons: deaths and drama. I hesitated before picking up. "Did you know your sister's been staying at your parents' place for weeks?" she asked, skipping right past hello. I blinked. "She's visiting for the holidays," I said, cautiously. A pause. Then, a bitter laugh. "Emily. I saw her using WIC vouchers at the Kroger on 5th. She's not visiting. She's surviving." I didn't respond. I just sat there, staring at the fridge where my kids' drawings hung beside last year's Christmas card. A photo of the 4 of us, me, the kids, my parents smiling like none of this had happened. Like we were whole. The next confirmation came the following week. This time from Marianne. Again, she'd spoken to my mom on the phone and caught the truth mid-sentence. Rachel had been living there since early October. "She lost her job," Marianne whispered like it was a confession. "Maxed out 2 credit cards, sold her couch, and flew home with nothing but a suitcase and a story. And my parents hadn't told anyone, not even me. They didn't say, 'She's going through something.' They said, 'It's too chaotic this year.' They didn't say, 'She needs help.' They said, 'Don't come.' And while I was making paper crowns and wrapping foot massager slippers, they were setting up the guest room, the one that used to be mine for the daughter who'd fallen apart quietly. I started noticing little things I hadn't questioned before. In the birthday video, Rachel was wearing an old hoodie. No makeup, no jewelry. She looked tired. The kind of tired that doesn't come from travel. The table was set with Mom's best china, but Rachel's smile didn't reach her eyes. She didn't look like someone being celebrated. She looked like someone being protected. And suddenly, it all made sense. The secrecy, the silence, the desperate need for control. They weren't just hosting a holiday. They were hiding a reality. And somehow, I had become the inconvenience. That weekend, I got another message, this time from Dad. Just 5 words. "Can we talk this weekend?" I didn't reply. 3 hours later, another one. From Mom. "Your sister's going through something. It's been very hard on all of us. We need to talk." No mention of what they'd done. No mention of my kids' tears. The gifts. The shouting on my doorstep. Just a request. Another one-sided invitation to be understanding. But I wasn't sure I had any of that left. They came on a Sunday. Not unannounced. Not angry. This time, my mom actually asked first. Said they wanted to come by. Like it was some casual drop-in, like nothing had fractured. I told her I'd cook lunch. She seemed relieved. "Oh, thank God," she texted. "Your dad and I were hoping we could all move past this." Those words stuck with me, "past this," like it was a misunderstanding. Like the problem had no names, no faces. They arrived right on time. Mom carried a pie. Store-bought, still in the plastic container, but she smiled like she'd baked it herself. Dad brought nothing. Not even eye contact. Jake was in the living room building something with Legos. Lily peeked around the corner, then went back to coloring. Neither of them ran to hug their grandparents. We sat down at the table. I served soup, grilled cheese, nothing fancy, just warm. Small talk filled the silence like stuffing into cracks. They asked about work, about the weather. My mom complimented the new tiles in the kitchen. Dad said the couch looked firm. Then the sigh came. The kind of sigh that meant the real reason had arrived. You know your sister's situation, Mom said, setting her spoon down just so. It's been a rough few months. It's not her fault the company downsized. She's trying her best. I waited. We were hoping, she continued, you could maybe just help her, a little, just until she's back on her feet. I nodded slowly, like I was considering it. Then said, sure, I can help her find a job. Mom blinked. Well, yes, but we meant something more immediate, like rent, groceries, maybe helping her get the car fixed she hasn't driven in weeks. I smiled. Helping her find a job is immediate. That's when my dad joined in, voice clipped. She's not used to working, that kind of job. I raised an eyebrow. She's not used to being broke either, but here we are. Silence. My mom looked around the room again, eyes catching on the framed drawings on the wall, the stacked school books, the freshly folded laundry on the counter, all signs of a life they'd never ask about. Then she said it. If you're going to be like this, we'll just have to get by without your help. I stood, walked over, and picked up the pie. No anger, no yelling. I simply opened the trash can and set it inside. Hey, I said gently. They left without another word. That night, I emailed a friend from college who worked in staffing, told her I had a candidate with a degree and some gaps in employment, admin, customer service anything, entry level. Rachel started the job 2 weeks later. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't want credit. I just didn't want them thinking they could define help and still ignore the people they had hurt. When Mom finally called, her voice was tight. You really aren't going to help us, are you? I said. You mean money? Anything? No. 2 days after I said no, a letter arrived. Not a text, not a call, a letter postmarked, stamped, signed, my name written in my mother's perfect cursive, like it belonged on a thank you card instead of a declaration of exile. I read it at the kitchen counter, while Lily cut up construction paper beside me. The words were polite, cold, measured, like a business memo written through gritted teeth. We're deeply disappointed. This level of selfishness is not what we raised. You've turned your back on family when we needed you most. They said I was no longer welcome until I regained a sense of perspective, that I had abandoned the values this family was built on. I didn't cry. I didn't even tear it up. I folded it once and placed it under the magnet shaped like a snowman on the fridge. And that's when I remembered the car. The SUV, the Toyota Highlander. A year and a half ago, when Dad's ancient pickup finally died in a grocery store parking lot, he called me, frantic. Mom needed to drive to her book club. The bus routes were inconvenient. They didn't have the savings. At the time, I was still legally married. My ex was in a generous mood that month and helped me co-sign a modest loan. We got them a solid used SUV clean title. 18, 0 miles, one previous owner. My dad cried when I handed him the keys. You finally did something right, my mom said then. They never made a single payment. Not one. And I never pushed. I just let it go. Until now. I logged into the account, checked the name on the title. Still mine, fully. My dad had never asked to transfer it. I guess he thought I wouldn't notice, or that I wouldn't care. I didn't tell them right away. I waited. A few days later, my mom posted a photo of Rachel posing next to the SUV like she was about to head off to brunch. Same hoodie, same tired eyes, but a smile, this time. I took a screenshot, sent it to my lawyer. 2 weeks later, A repossession notice arrived hand-delivered, in front of the neighbors. That part wasn't planned, but it was satisfying. Mom called first, screamed into the phone. "How could you do this to us?" I said. "You disowned me. The car goes with me." Then I hung up. I thought that would be the end of it. But a week later, there was a knock at my door. Late just after 9 p.m. I thought it was a delivery driver or maybe one of the neighbors with a complaint. I opened it and saw Rachel. Not angry, not crying, holding a suitcase. She looked smaller than I remembered. Her hair was pulled back, her eyes puffy like she hadn't slept in days. "I quit the job," she said. "I didn't move. I want to stay here," she added. "With you, I want to start over." I blinked. Laughdance, bitter and low. "I have 2 kids and no spare room," I said. "I can sleep on the floor," she answered. Then she paused, swallowed hard, and looked down at her stomach. "I'm pregnant." I didn't say anything. "It's not Max's," she added. It's nobody I want to name. Mom doesn't know, Dad definitely doesn't, and if they find out, they'll throw me out." She looked me in the eyes for the first time since high school, and her voice cracked. "I know what I've been. I know what I let them turn me into. But I'm scared, and I believe you're the only one who won't throw me away." Something shifted in that moment, not forgiveness, not erasure, but something. I opened the door wider. "The couch is yours," I said. "Blankets in the hall closet." She stepped inside. No more words. And just like that, the sister I once envied, once resented, was now a girl with no home, no plan, and a heartbeat growing inside her. And I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. But for the first time in a long time, tired wasn't the same as powerless. Rachel didn't talk much after that first night. She didn't try to explain what happened. She didn't apologize. She just helped. The next morning, she was in the kitchen before I even got up, folding laundry that wasn't hers. Lily thought it was fun. She taught Rachel how to fold shirts the smiley way, which really just meant turning everything into animals. Jake didn't say much, but he gave her one of his red Legos. That was how he forgave. She took the couch without complaint, brought her own pillow, bought groceries when she could, small bags, a box of cereal, frozen grapes. Sometimes, she'd bring back tiny flowers wrapped in paper towel from the park down the street and leave them on the table. No grand gestures, just presence. And one night, I heard her crying in the bathroom. I didn't go in. I just stood outside the door and whispered, "I'm still here." She didn't answer. But the next day, she scrubbed the kitchen floor. No one asked her to. Weeks passed. She got her job back, a different position, less stress. Customer service. She said the headset made her ears sweat, but she liked the quiet. "I talk to angry people all day," she said once. "They don't scare me anymore." We started sharing dinners. Not out of obligation, just because it felt less lonely. She'd cut vegetables while I helped Jake with math. Lily would talk about everything all at once, and Rachel actually listened. She started keeping a little notebook. I caught her writing in it once neat lines, scribbled names. I asked what it was. "Things I've done wrong," she said. "Things I'm trying to make right." I nodded. Didn't ask to read it. One night, I came home late from work, exhausted, and there she was, folding my laundry, putting on a kettle, my kids already in bed. "I told them a story," she said. "It was terrible, but they laughed." I sat down, shoes still on, and looked at her for a long time. "Do you want to stay?" I asked. She shrugged. "I don't know." "Not here," I clarified. "In this life. In the kind where people work and cook and get tired and cry quietly in bathrooms." She looked up then. "Yeah," she said. "I think I do." That night, she left a note on the fridge in purple marker. "I want to be their aunt, the kind that shows up." It was taped right next to the letter from our mom, the one calling me selfish. Funny how the smallest handwriting can carry the most weight. It was mid-December when Mom called again. Not a message, a call, on speaker. Rachel was standing right next to me, cutting apples into thin slices for Lily's lunch. Emily, she began, in that airy tone she used when pretending everything was fine. We've been thinking maybe it's time we all talked. You and Rachel could come over, maybe for Christmas Eve? Rachel's knife stopped. She didn't look up. I leaned against the counter. Who'll be there? I asked. Well, your aunt, Uncle Jim, the Myers. Oh, and Max. He's back from Florida. Max. Rachel's ex. The one who... I looked at her, her jaw clenched. No, I said simply. We won't be there. Mom's voice stiffened. Emily, it's time to stop punishing everyone. You've always had a flair for drama, but this... You told me not to come. I interrupted. You disinvited me. That was months ago. Things were chaotic. They're still chaotic, I said, but now I control what kind. Silence. Then, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Rachel reached over and pressed the end call button with one clean motion. We stood there, breathing. That night, we decorated the apartment with paper snowflakes and dollar store tinsel. Rachel brought home a tiny pre-lit tree. Jake called it the starter tree. Lily made name tags out of cereal boxes and glitter glue. Mom, Aunt Rachel, Jake the Brave, Princess Lily. We ate spaghetti on Christmas Eve, watched an old movie with a scratchy soundtrack, opened exactly 4 presents each. And then, the knock came. This time it wasn't Rachel. Or Dad. It was Mom. Holding a glass pie dish. She looked smaller than I remembered, tired, defensive, and for once, unsure. I thought maybe, if there's room. Rachel stepped forward first. Calm. There's room. But not if you're here to fix your story about us. Only if you want to listen. You girls always make everything so difficult, Mom whispered. No, I said. We just stopped making it easy for you to rewrite things. There was another long silence. I brought apple crumble, she said quietly. Your favorite, Rachel. Rachel didn't smile, but she stepped aside. The table's in there. Help yourself. That night, we sat at the table we set ourselves. Not perfect, not peaceful, but finally real. And when Lily crawled into my lap after dinner and whispered, "This is the best Christmas," I believed her. Not because of the food or the tree or the presence of a mother still learning how to show up, but because for once, none of us were pretending. And for the first time in years, no one at that table was being left out. 3 months later, the tree was long gone. The glitter glue name tags had peeled off the wall. The purple note Rachel wrote was faded now, but I'd tucked it behind the fridge magnet that read, "Feed the dog," even though we didn't have one. It was just a Tuesday. Lily had soccer practice. Jake was on a mission to read a whole book without stopping. Rachel was late coming home from work, stuck in traffic with a client meltdown in her headset, no doubt. And I was in the kitchen, reheating soup, when the door knocked again. This time, no dread. It was Mom, holding nothing. No pie, no Tupperware, no agenda. Just herself. I was nearby, she said. Thought I'd see if the invitation was still open. I looked at her, this woman who had once made me feel invisible in my own childhood, who had spoken over birthdays, over grief, over me. And yet, "We're just doing leftovers," I said. "Nothing fancy." She smiled. Small. Perfect. We sat. She helped stir the pot. We didn't talk about Christmas, or Rachel's job, or the things we never said out loud. But when Rachel walked in hair messy, badge still clipped to her pocket, and saw our mom standing at the stove, she didn't freeze. She just said, "You're stirring that wrong." And for the first time in, maybe ever, we all laughed. The kind of laugh that has room for everything, the good, the terrible, the effort. Jake pulled out 4 bowls. Lily danced around the table. Rachel turned on the Bluetooth speaker, which only played 90s songs now for some reason. And me? I just sat, watched, listened, breathed. The table was still there. Same dense, Same stain from a spilled juice box last fall. Same place where the varnish peeled because someone set a hot pan down without thinking. But now, the chairs were full. Not with people who always got it right, but with people who had finally stopped running from the mess. People who stayed.